just because I go into a pen with livestock doesn't mean I want the dog to start working. I don't mind if she looks at them, watches them. What I don't want her to do is just go to work without me. So anything that she does, she can look, she can be curious, she can kind of stay within an arm's reach of me. If she starts to get distracted, the sniffing too much, the poop eating, wandering off, wandering towards the stock, that's when I will verbally correct her, get her attention back on me, and then redirect her to what she's supposed to be doing. So usually calling her back to me, scolding her for sniffing poop. So we're in here to do something. She just hasn't been told what it is yet. So I'm just reinforcing that her attention needs to be on me. She needs to be in work mode. So no playing around, no being leisurely, no doing what she wants to do. This is about what I might ask her to do. And in here today, I'm just not going to put a lot of pressure on her. I just really want her to get up kind of close. She hasn't worked up these goats before. So kind of want to give her the opportunity to move around them, see how they move, get a feel for it, work in a smaller pen than what she's been working in, and then just kind of see how she reacts to that. I would, in a perfect world, really like her to be watching these stock right now. I'm fine with her with what she's doing. So loose-eyed dogs, a lot of times, if they're not on duty, as in you're not asking them to go to work, they may not pay attention to their livestock because they don't have that eye that an eye breed does have. The eye is usually where you see them staring, crouching, laying down, holding stock in position without moving. And these guys don't necessarily have that. They move stock with their movement. So if they're not allowed to go to stock and move them, then they're not working them. So they're usually pretty content if you have told them not to work, to come and hang out with you and not watch their livestock. Like I said, I personally just really like a dog that is on it, that's ready to go, wants to work, wants to watch my stock, because that's going to make certain things easier later on, such as holding them off the feed, holding them off the gate, driving, things like that. So if they're always going to use their movement to move livestock and no eye at all, you can try to develop eye in a dog that doesn't have it. Your results may vary. But if they don't watch the stock, then they often lose contact with them during those kind of activities. Makes it just a little bit harder for them, or they may have to do it a little bit different way than a dog with a little bit of eye. So that's just something to keep in mind, not necessarily a good or a bad thing. Oakley. So I want to scold her a little bit for the rushing in and acting like she's going to bite. So the little sound for me just means go to work, or kind of an encouraging sound. I don't want it to mean just get them up. So that's what my push command is for. I didn't want to pick up any kind of tool just yet. I wanted to see just how she reacted and kind of where we were on her reaction to the livestock and my body position and things like that before I really started to direct her. She's pretty new. I've only had her a couple of weeks, so I feel like I want to gauge the amount of pressure that she's ready to take before I start putting a lot of pressure on her. And this is going to be a little difficult for her. Good girl. Good girl. Good. So she's getting more comfortable with going out ahead of me, watching the livestock instead of watching me. So I'm just going to step in and make that one move. Good. Her bite, or her concentration of bite, definitely focused on the heels. If I step in front of her, I'll see what she does, or try to. Let's see if she changes direction on her own, just based on my body position and where the livestock are, and she does. She's actually watching them on the head, so that's a good thing. Relieves a little bit of pressure to get around and get to the other side. Good girl. Good girl. So if I step in front of her and see what she does. If she does switch direction. Good girl. Nice. So just because my sheep are slow, my goats are slow, doesn't necessarily mean that she needs to start biting heels. I think I said this in another video. Sheep and goats, I mean, they do respond to it, but it's not the primary way to get them to move. Cattle either, to be honest with you, biting heels a lot of time, especially if you work pairs, or especially if you work cattle that are not broke to dogs, biting heels a lot of times will turn your cattle around and cause them to see what bit them, so it causes the dog to have to really face the heads up. So it's often better for them to just hold pressure than it is to go in on those heels, or at least try to arc around and get to the heads, to the eye where the animal can see them, and then try to move away. So right there, she was not focused on all the livestock. She was just focused on the one or two in front of her that she could see the heels of. So that was what I scolded her for. Same thing as the other dog that I worked today. I'm going to start trying to hold these sheep and goats in one place and see what she does to adjust. So if I'm trying to hold them in one place, she doesn't need to be continuously pushing on them and making them fight me, right? So between me and her, we are a team. So if there was a gate over here and we're trying to get them through the gate, I'm doing my part by holding my livestock here, trying to turn them towards the gate. And if she goes over there, she's working against me. And if she pushes them on me, she's working against me. Just So there are a lot of things that she can do to help me hold them in one place, but continuously sneaking up on them and putting more pressure on them and packing them in here tighter is not one of those things. So I can scold her for that. Same thing as you would scold if you've asked her to move out of the way, or you've asked her to, now I'm going to let her go around. Focus on going around, not just focus on turning in and pushing. Hey you. Hey you. You. Alright, so when I have to scold her pretty hard, she avoids the pressure and wants to rush around and go to the other side of stock. So instead of just dealing with the correction and asking, hey, what did you want from me, and letting me help her, she just avoids the correction and rushes around. Pretty common thing for a lot of dogs to do, and you just don't want to let them get away with that. So you just continue to block her from the livestock and continue to give your correction. You do not have to escalate it, but you can just continue at the same kind of intensity that you are. And then when she finally relinquishes that and says, oh, I'm so sorry, what did you want? Put her back to work. So she really needs to let go of the stock here. She's just kind of following along behind And she needs to make her way around. And she may just have one way that she likes better than the other, or she might have just thought we were doing something different. So I just need to help redirect her. I like that she's trying to speed up and get to balance. There. So when I've told her there, I'm telling her that she's on balance. Now my sheep are leaving me. So then that's what the correction is for. So she needs to go back to trying to balance off, meaning to go get my stock and bring them back to me. And if she forgets some, that's what I'm going to scold her for. Then I'm going to step out, put a little pressure on this shoulder here. Good. Release the pressure when she goes back to work. Scold her. Over flanking. Good. There. Good girl. So, you. Good girl. So this is balance. All my stock are basically right here in front of me. If I needed to grab one, get a hold of one, I could. I did not tell her to stop, so she has the freedom to move. So as you can see, if I'm trying to grab one, they're going to try to get away from me, and her job is going to be to keep them with me. So there gives her the permission to do that. The word there, it just means that's where I've got my livestock headed, that's where I want them, and your job is to maintain that. So then, anything that she does that's counter to that, I will scold her for, and then try to redirect her to what she should be doing. So she should be going over there to bring those back to me. And she may not want to be going over there because those are looking directly at her. So her having to confront the heads of the livestock, infinitely more difficult than having to confront the butts. Butts don't look at you. So I want to put a little pressure on her to get her head to turn away from me. My to try to encourage her, so you can hear her vocalizing there, so that's a sign that she's feeling a little bit of stress. Okay, so she's just having a hard time with it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to step in, call her to my leg on this side towards the fence, and help her. So I forgot about the task at hand, which was to just hold the goats to me. Hey, if she's continually trying to go around me, my correction might get a little bit stronger. So I helped her once. I'm going to open the door for her to go again. There's butts looking at her, which might make it a little easier for her. Hey, you. Here, I mean on the inside basically, but the outside of the goats, the inside between me and the fence. Good girl. There. Good girl there. Good. There. Good. Now I've got all my stuff with me, all my stock. They're starting to mill about and leave. So her job is to cover that. So I correct her a little bit, just scold her. Good. And then put her back where she should be.